Hello, and welcome once again to Foodie and Friends. And our friends today include Kathy Lee, the one and only, Gary Williams, the man about town, and we hope that Jerome Roberts, who's going to be probably late in joining us, but of course he is out to take care of his granddaughter. I think he's taking her to school, and that's very important. So he may pop in a later date, but right now it's you and us, Kathy and Gary. And the first thing I want to start off with, I've been itching to find out how you guys thought about the president's speech. It was a long one, but he covered everything, and it's good on paper, but I don't know how he's going to make it. But anyway, we'll back him up. What did you think, Kathy?
Well, it was, I think, 65 minutes long, and I did watch the entire thing, my husband and I, because, I'm very much involved in political stuff, as is Gary and everyone else. I thought the speech was very hopeful. I do agree that he has some obstacles, and part of the challenge he's going to have is you have people that are part of the Workers' Party, like I think his name is Jamal Brown, who didn't think he went far enough as far as climate change as a rebuttal. Then, of course, you had Scott Guy from South Carolina. There's no racist. This is not a racist country, so that created a controversy. And of course, you also have the Republicans that have decided from the door that they do not intend whatsoever to support anything that Biden is doing. And what frustrates a lot of people a lot is whenever it comes to spending money on the citizens of this country, we can't afford it. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to financing a war in Afghanistan for 20 years that cost trillions of dollars, and Iraq that cost trillions of dollars, and all the other things that we do, there's no issue with money. And the same thing is when the Republicans are in power, they sure find a way to really spend, 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 and then wait for mommy and daddy, the Democrats, to come back and put the budgets back in place or put everything
Yeah.
back in order.
Yeah, that's a good observation. And of course, all of the things just about that he mentioned in his speech will require some input with the community and race relations. I thought that was very obvious in all of the things that he said. What about you, Gary? What do you think?
Yeah, that's interesting that you pointed out about the war because there's money in war. So, if there's no money involved in making in this situation with the budget, then that's natural for most politicians, even Republicans and Democrats, not want to sign anything. That's just the capitalistic system that we're in. But I hope that most of the things that he did put in there were fair, and that there shouldn't be any reason why people that are on the opposite side of the track would want to not move the country forward. So if they're not wanting to move the country forward, what are they for? Are they for the destruction of government? I'm just saying. I mean, you have an opportunity to start a new beginning, a restart with a new president, someone that wasn't ever president before, and someone that's been in politics for a long time, and someone that has some experience that's trying to move the country forward. And I'm not getting it. So these people, who are they? What is their makeup? What is their gain by holding the country back?
Yeah.
The inflation is going to go up.
In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because right away our food prices have gone up. How do you feel about that? That's going to hit home with everybody.
Well, right now they're still giving people free food. But what's going to happen when the schools possibly open back up and the restaurants open back up in full force? Where's the free food that was giving out to people by different programs going to go that the farmers are growing and making? That's one thing. So now people are going to have to go out and shop for food with the inflation that's supposed to be going up. So that doesn't help the economy because people are going to be thinking and mindful of their spending and cutting back.
Well,
Yeah.
I hear you, but just to go back to what what Trudy was saying earlier. No, actually, excuse me, Gary. What you were stressing is, who are these people? Well, let's describe who these people are. Now, I'm just saying now. It just appears to me that it's all about the caste system and power and the illusion of power. To me, power is an illusion, and the control of the money. And the programs that Biden's speech is putting forward were doing things to really help all Americans. But the only thing that they seem to be focused on is which Americans are going to be helped. Oh, so you want to help all
Or
of these
not helped.
poor people? No, well, I'm talking about the Republicans, and I'm talking about the people. There are a lot of millions of people that voted for a different party that do not want to see any of the social programs moving forward. Why? Because it helps certain people.
Hmm.
And by certain people, I would say they kind of look like us, sitting here right here on this television. So when you're talking about improving education, why don't you want an educated population? That goes back to Gary. That goes back to you, Trudy. That goes back to everything. If you have an educated population, they're not going to fall for the same stuff anymore that they fell for in the past. For example, when you want to look at, like, well, let's look at the old political systems. Just why did they make poor whites side with the wealthy corporations and the mercantile class in this country? It was to protect their wealth and their status. That's really the only reason why they do it. And so they keep putting this thing, Gary, up there about, like, where did the term white and black even come from? There are no white people in Europe. There are no white people in America. There are no black people in Africa. You have Scottish, you have Irish, you have German. When you put
Yeah.
white out there, it creates this whole air of, it forces the superiority belief that they have. And it's a very limiting belief when you think about it, Gary.
Mhm.
And I'm going to end with just this last sentence because, you know, when you look at the definition of white, it's purity, it's righteousness. And when you look at the definition of black, at least that's the definition that I remember as a child: evil, this, that, and the other. So when you even call somebody white, aren't we
Hmm.
acknowledging their belief system, their limiting belief system of superiority? And to me, that's what is happening. Because you go to Europe, they don't call themselves white, they call themselves French or
Exactly.
Italian.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Mhm.
You're saying the right thing. And we're
Yeah.
going to say something about that, Gary.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah, they're Caucasian. They're Caucasian, and that's who they are. They came from the Caucasoid Mountains. They know who they are. I don't know why we give labels to people, but the mere fact that when you do give a label to somebody, you automatically Black Cat, Black Friday, even Black Friday, which is a day that it's so ironic. Even Black Friday, which is a day, that's the only good day that something's black is good because they're spending their money into the system. So they call it Black Friday. You go out shopping and put your money back into the economy. And that is the last, and according to, I'm just saying, according to an accountant, we break it into quarters. 3, 3, 3, 3, which is 12 months. So the
Hmm.
last quarter is where Black Friday happens to fall, with all the other major holidays to get you from the red to the black. So they have 3 times to do that. That's how it's done. The system is set up by different holidays to raise the economy based on their
Their
holidays.
personal needs and desires.
Yeah, it's interesting how they tie it all in. And then that thing, what you're saying, true, Kathy, that white sheep, white this, white that. So it's embedded in people's minds now. It's like you got to really shake that out of you got to detergent yourself, because you got to say that you're a human being on the planet, and there's only one creator. And once you get to that level, then you'll start thinking other, because I've met people of all different. I talk to all kinds of people. I'm in the media business, and I meet some nice people, and I meet some not so nice people. So it's
And we
interesting.
forget that white is a color.
Yeah.
white is a color. So people forget that all of those things that you say, black, red, green, red, and white, they're all colors. So if somebody says, well, I'm looking for a color to put in here. Well, what about white? It's a color. And I bumped into that as a child because I got on the bus one day and a white couple did get on, and the little girl said, oh, Mama, there's a black woman, not black, brown. She's a different color. And I said, I'm a color, but so are you. Her mother agreed. So white is a color too, but we forget about that.
Yeah, but interesting enough, back in the days, they called you a colored person, they called you a Negro, they called you this, they called you that. And like Kathy said, we got to the level where we're called black. And one guy was pointing out to me that black is not really something positive to say that we are. So I got to ask him again, because how do we get all the way from colored, Negro, coon, all these different things to end up being black? You know, where did that come from? Really think about it. You know, think about it in the 40s where they called you a colored person, or the sign said, no colors allowed in here, colored water fountain. You know, that was like 50, 60 years ago. Now all of a sudden it's a whole different title that we let people give us.
Well, actually, we began using the first Africans here, especially, let's talk about Philadelphia, let's bring it home. They were proud Africans. All of their societies, everything that they founded in the 18th century was a free African society. Mother Bethel, African, okay. Okay, there you go.
Methodist Episcopal.
They knew they were Africans. It wasn't until after the election of Andrew Jackson, who our previous president, 45, really liked. They had all of the African American, actually we were not even American, and all the Africans who lived in this country, the free Africans, had a convention. So they came up, well, let's just say we're colored. Now you can check me on that, but that's when the term colored, because they were seen as a threat. The free Africans were always seen as a threat within the American society. And you can see that we're free Africans now, and we're still seen as a threat in this country. We're seen as a threat when we walk down the street, when we barbecue in the park. No matter where we walk, we are still a threat. And it's how to contain these people has been the goal of the people with the power and the money in the country. That has always seemed to be their goal, control the population. So that's how color came about. But Negro is a Spanish word, and that word goes back to the 15th, 16th, 17th century. Yeah, but that's a Spanish word for black.
Yeah, that's like Portugal or something like that. That goes back to the Portuguese, which was the first slave traders, practically.
Yeah, well,
that led us to be,
European slave traders.
Yeah, right.
That invaded Africa around 1444. But when you look at the term Negro, they would say Negroes for sale right here in Philadelphia. Negroes. Negroes. Then they tell you where they were from, what region and stuff they were from. So yes, we have evolved with labels. And a lot of them we did not. Now I prefer to call myself an African American, but we were not really Americans until after the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were passed in this country. So anyone that calls you an American in 1619, there was no America. We were an English colony. End of story. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all right, Kathy. I'm glad you know, because a lot of us don't. But we'll know something about what we can do to have take our own pandemic test now. You can do that at home. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Well, before we go to break, I do want to say that one of the things with Biden's speech that I thought was really good is he does want to tax these old businesses and these corporations. He has a whole financial and I think they should pay taxes. No company should be able to outsource their funds to these other islands and other countries and not pay their fair share in taxes to pay for any social programs to correct any wrongs that have been done to the people in this country.
A good way to end this portion of our show. We'll be right back. Well, we're back with you, Trudy and friends, and we have our third friend. He just joined us, and he's on the road. The traveling gator, the Philadelphia gator. Where are you, baby? Jerome. Oh,
Name is Vaya. Say hi, Vaya. Vaya's on way to take an AP exam. Whatever the stuff, nothing about it. But this is an old command, hanging out in Atlanta with my grandchildren, and I'm enjoying it.
I guess you are. However, you make sure that you stay well, though, doing that, and that they're safe also. Hello, can you hear us? Well, at least he knows we're here, and he tried to greet us.
Yeah,
I have just heard, not just heard, I heard this weekend that there are ways now that you can test yourself and even give yourself the vaccine. Is that right, folks? Am I hearing right?
Everybody trying to make some money. That's how I look at it. You said, what's one more person coming into the game? Because it's actually, when I think about it, it doesn't make sense that all these things are being throwing people different ways. You got people that haven't gone back for their second shot because they're hearing things and they're listening to things and they're paying attention, and they're not, they're not with it. I mean, if you have a pandemic and you have four major companies that know it's really tragic and people are dying, why can't they, I'm just saying, all come together and produce something that can cure this disease?
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of looking at it from a profit motive. If it was profit motive from the beginning, how do you think it's going to end up being profit motive? So when they create these things where you can test yourself, that's like a woman testing herself for pregnancy.
Well, I don't know that this is a bad idea. Maybe it has to be perfected. How about you, Kathy? You're a little cautious about things like this.
Well, no, I'm saying cautious, but as a female, and when I was younger, when those pregnancy tests came out, I did take a home pregnancy test, and guess what? It was positive twice because I have two kids.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything wrong personally with people who, especially those who do not wish to receive the vaccine and they want to go somewhere or be around people, if they want to test themselves, the sooner you find out whether or not you've been exposed, you can go into, and the earlier you catch it, you won't remdesivir. You could go into the cocktails that they're talking about. But other than that, when you look at what Biden is talking about as far as the virus and his entire infrastructure plan, is basically trying to undo a lot of the damage that's caused by this virus. And one of the ways that is getting out more testing, or giving money to schools. I'm glad he wants kids to go through school for free from kindergarten, from preschool, all the way up to 2 years of community college, because I think that is tremendous. Lifting all them kids out of poverty. The ones that are affected the most by the pandemic are, let's face it, who are in tight, cramped quarters. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has to do with your environment, where you live, and what you are exposed to, and who you
Mhm.
are exposed to. So I have no problem with them expanding people being able to get a test and to find out whether or not they have the coronavirus. The sooner you find out, the sooner you can choose which
That's
option
true.
to cure yourself that you want to go about doing.
And if they don't start these things, we'll never know how to improve. For instance, now they already have announced that they have a vaccine for young people, 12 and under, which hasn't been done before. And that's going to be another introduction. And then now they're also trying these vaccines, or some vaccine, I don't know which one, or if it's a new one coming along, to put with waste material and see how it affects waste. So all of these experiments, I think, are very important. I'd rather them try them on some other way than to try them on people.
Well, you just said it. You said something about trying and testing. So where's the testing part before they put it out on the market? I mean, where's the Food and Drug Administration on what level are they doing and examining before these people put stuff on the market. They put Johnson & Johnson talcum powder on the market, and women use it, and they got cancer, and they're suing them. So where does it end where you just put something on the market? Another guy, he created a wristband to go with the corona, right? I call it corona because that's the first thing that I've heard. I don't know about this COVID-19 code word, whatever. But the wristband has actually the information in the wristband, and it costs $19. He didn't say he was producing it for free, but it's a wristband that this doctor created that you scan, and it has your record of your COVID shot history in it when you wear it. So where does it end? This is my thing. Where does all this stuff end? And then when do you get your next shot? Because as they state that the bacteria can reinvent itself, or whatever you call that word, when do you get your next shot, like the flu shot? So where does the money end with this thing? See, it's follow the money. I always say follow the money. I'm not against people getting the shot. I just want to know. So I'm just saying, I just want to know why all this stuff is all of a sudden just blooming like a wandering Jew, which is a plant that grows all over the place. When does it end?
Well, I don't know when it ends, but here's my challenge to our audience, Trudy, or your audience. Everyone should just take a deep breath. Don't fear it. Don't fear. Don't walk around with fear. Walk around with high vibrational thoughts and emotions. That's about the only thing you can do. The other thing is to go back to what Gary said. They tested all these viruses in 3 phases, and when they got to the last phase is when they kind of released it. And I'm not going to go into all attenuated viruses and non-attenuated viruses. But because it is a challenge that this country is facing, and it is a challenge that the new president and his administration, who are a breath of fresh air, they're intelligent, they know what they're doing. And with that, Trudy, we've reached the end, so I'm going to let you go ahead and do what you have to do.
Well, I think we're going to go through a period or several periods of testing several things for this. I have no objection because I've had the 2 tests. I had my test. I think you did, Kathy. I don't know about you, Gary. You were kind of fighting it at first. But I think the major thing is that people are trying to find the answer. And we can't find it by sitting on it. We've got to experiment, and we've got to take chances while we're trying to find out. And someone's got to do them. If you don't want to, if you object, you have the right to stay on the sidelines. But as soon as, don't forget that talcum powder was on the market for a long time before it caused any problems of cancer. I don't know what happened to it, but it was there for a long time. A lot of people were accustomed to using Johnson talcum product. Maybe you know, Kathy.
Well, I don't know anything about talcum powder, Trudy, but I can say this. This is the first pandemic or the first outbreak because of social media that it has just traveled all across the world. There have always been pandemics on this planet. We're the first generation to actually see it unfold in real time. Because the plague, the Black Death, all that kind of stuff, they eradicated, 2/3 of Europe. We already know all that. There have always been pandemics. So we're going to stop now. I'm going to say that I'm Kathy Lee, the original. And I'm also going to say that I am president of the West Park Cultural Center. I'm the president of the board, and I'm a member of the Germantown Historic Germantown. And I just with Gary and Trudy.
Okay. Well, my name is Gary Williams, as you know. I'm with the organization called Agent with Dignity Committee. And what we do is we make sure the seniors predominantly get food on a weekly basis. We give them boxes of food. Also, we give them social and health and all types of informations that they can utilize to help themselves, including repairs on their homes and things like that. And also if they have offspring in the homes that qualify for jobs, we can resource that out to them also. And I do my own feeding of the homeless in the streets, and I learned so much by, and I got to change that word, because I learned from one of the homeless people that we call homeless that he's not homeless. When I went to give him the food, he said he's not homeless. He said he's houseless. He said the world is home. And it really stuck with me to call them houseless from now on. So sometimes you got to watch your vocabulary, and I learned from them. It's very interesting. It's so heartwarming that I got that experience. So I do that. I do the Aging with Dignity, and hey, you know, you can.
What we're going to do right now is to remind people that we're here every Wednesday to help you and just talk about these problems that face all of us. We're very happy to have you with us. Have a blessed day and a safe one.
That's
Yes,
what I'm saying.
I
How
can.
is she talking to Kathy and Kathy muted? She can't.
I heard everything Trudy said.
No, I'm saying she couldn't hear you because you was muted.
I wasn't a minute ago.
Yes, she was a minute ago. All right, whatever.
Hey.
I ain't debating today. That's my thing today. I ain't debating with nobody.
Oh, I thought Trudy could hear me. I didn't realize she couldn't hear me.
Yeah, you were muted.
Oh,
muted.
But I heard you.
thank you, because it was telepathically done.
Right.
I complimented you on your background, and you will give me thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought y'all was communicating.
Yeah,
You know.
you're talking about the background. Yeah. You like my fake flowers?
I love your background. It's real nice. Are they from your garden?
No, they're from the store. They're fake.